Greg Anthony here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Greg?
Good morning. How's it going, my man?
I'm good. So, I mean, talk about intrigue when you've got the Bucks and the Cavs here. So, let's start with the ultimate top story news going on right now in our DirecTV 4K NBA report that Eric Bledsoe is going to join the Bucks and Greg Monroe in a first round are going to Phoenix while all the T's are being crossed and I's dotted. I imagine Monroe will not be available for the Bucks tonight against the Cavs.
Probably not. Bledsoe probably won't be available. However, big picture, it could end up being a huge boon for them because Bledsoe, prior to all of the issues he's had starting this season and all the dysfunction that the Suns have had for that matter, he's proven to be a pretty productive player. And right now, that's an area where, especially offensively, where the Bucks have really struggled. Outside of Giannis, they've had nobody that they can consistently count on to score the basketball. Chris Middleton was expected to be that guy, had been, but, dealing with injury, he's not, I don't think, completely right. Obviously, Jabari Parker's not ready to play yet, so they have some concerns. And I think bigger picture, you want to give a guy as talented as Giannis a feeling that he's got some horses that can go with him. So I think in that respect, this could be a great fit in terms of how both those guys play and what Jason Kidd wants to do with that roster.
So do you think Bledsoe could find a good barbershop in Milwaukee? Greg, do you think he's got that already?
They got a few good salons there that I'm familiar with. He probably wants full service. He looks like the kind of guy who wants to get the pedi, the mani, the facial, the whole nine. So you don't want to just go to the barbershop.
Got it. I just want to,
full service.
Just wanted to check on all that. And then there's the Cavs, man. I mean, where do you stand on this? It's early, or we've seen enough to know that it's going to be a long season? What do you think?
Well, let's go this route. It's too early to make a determination, but the determination I will make right now is that they suck. I mean, pure and simply, they're just a bad basketball team. And in all fairness, a lot of it has to do with, one, their age, two, the fact that they're dealing with significant injuries, three, the fact that we do not have the same kind of training camp that we used to have coming into the season, and the limited practice time when you got that many new guys, it's going to affect whoever you are. And so I'm not overly concerned yet, not 10 games in or whatever the total is.
It's 10.
I always say look at Christmas is when you've made wholesale changes to a roster, it takes, even with a full training camp, it takes a good 6-8 weeks to really get a sense of what your identity is going to be. And so I'm not ready to throw him overboard just yet, in part two, because LeBron is still playing really good basketball. He's just got to somehow will the rest of those guys to lift their level. And I think they're still going to be the team to beat in that Eastern Conference, especially in light of what happened with Gordon Hayward in Boston, and they're playing terrific basketball. But in the postseason, as you well know, Richard, that's a different animal.
No, there's no doubt.
Okay if I call you Richard?
No, that's fine.
If I call you Richard?
So it's you and my mom. That's great. Not a problem.
Okay.
Anything but people call me Dick, but maybe not to my face. It's okay. So let me ask you this, Greg. How about this? Because I made this supposition the other day, and you tell me. Isaiah Thomas is going to ride to the rescue of this team. That if you took Kyrie off the Cavs last year, just in general, they might have struggled. And so Isaiah Thomas is going to come to this team and provide the heartbeat and the leadership that he's known for and the scoring. And it may take some time for him to work in the mix for the Cavs, but they're going to be fine the minute he walks back on the floor. What do you think about that?
I think he's going to make a huge difference. And I'll tell you in a weird way, it's going to be helpful for him if they aren't playing great. Because, again, he's coming into a new situation, new system where he's not going to be the best player. And if that team were, really rolling, it'd be harder to try to fit him in. There'd be questions about whether or not he should start or come off the bench, blah, blah, blah. If they're not playing great basketball when that moment comes where he's back there, I think in a weird way it's going to help him fit in because he's going to feel more needed, right? That's just human nature. So I'm kind of with you on that one, and that's really what they're missing right now. They don't have another guy. Kevin Love's solid, but they don't have another guy that you have to game plan for right now. And I think Isaiah, after what he did last season, if he's healthy, he's got a chance to be that guy.
Greg Anthony here in the DirecTV 4K NBA report. Again, players only, former players in every commentator role, live coverage every Tuesday night on NBA TV. Which team so far for you has been a pleasant surprise and that you think will continue on being a pleasant surprise so far, Greg?
Ooh, it's a good question. There have been a few. I might have to go out to La La Land in the Lakers. To be at 500 when Lonzo Ball hasn't played really all that well, and Kuzma's been their
Terrific.
best rookie.
Yep.
But he has changed the style and the way in which they play. He's brought an unselfishness to that group that you're out there, Rich. They didn't play unselfishly. They played like a bunch of young guys that were trying to prove how good they were as individuals. Right now, they play like a team. They play unselfish, experienced kind of basketball. And while his numbers have been great, I think that's been helpful. And then Kuzma's been just off the charts. And I think you got to give Luke Walton a lot of credit in that front office for what they've been able to do to kind of get this group heading that direction, because they're starting to believe. And when you're a young team and you believe, that's when you're dangerous. And they're starting to play really solid, consistent basketball. And I do think that they're going to be a team that has a chance, if they're healthy, to make a push at the postseason.
What about the other coast? What about the Knicks, where the unicorn is starting he's starting to flourish, and Jeff Hornacek might not have what did Van Gundy call Phil Jackson? Chief Big Triangle, right? That doesn't have him whispering in his ear or standing over his shoulder. I mean, what do you think of this right now?
No, listen, I think Porzingis, the first sign of great coaching is coaching great players. And Kristoff has proven that not only can he handle being the guy, he embraces it and really thrives in that situation. I mean, I said it last week, I'm going to do this thing top 5 under 25 tonight. We're going to bring it out on the air tonight. And if you look at all the guys under 25 right now that have really been around for a few years, not including that rookie class, he might have the highest ceiling. And that's saying a lot when you think of Giannis and how good he's been. Anthony Davis, it seems like he's been in the league 30 years. He's only 24. There are a lot of Joel Embiid. There are a lot of guys that are just phenomenal players. And Porzingis doesn't take a backseat to any of them. And so I think he's brought some excitement. And it is helpful, right? You have two of the story franchises in the league, the Knicks and the Lakers, at least playing relevant basketball, even though it's just November. Hopefully we can continue down that path with those two teams, because they do have some young guys that people around the country who are fans of basketball will want to see.
Greg, I really appreciate it. I really enjoy that players only. I really, really enjoy it. I love watching folks like you and, again, Steve Smith and C. Webb and everybody that Turner and NBA TV throw out there and just basically give you the keys to the car and say, drive it. And I really enjoy it. So enjoy that one tonight.
We appreciate it, partner. And I'm looking forward to the next time you're out there running at 40.
Well, I mean, that's February. And I was actually driving my car the other day, just thinking, looking over the wheel, and I'm like, wow, I'm about 3 months away. Like, maybe I should start training this time around.
No, it's too early. It's too early, Rich. At our age, it's too early. You don't want to peak too soon.
It's a marathon, even though I'm supposed to sprint. I got it. Very good. Thanks, Greg. You take care.
All right, brother. Be good.
That's Greg Anthony 50 on Twitter.
For more Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Rich Eisen Show app.